Good morning to all students. So today in this lecture we are going to continue further with the regenerative braking, that is the next energy storage option for electric vehicle. So we are going to have a look on fundamentals of regenerative braking, in which we are going to see regenerative energy compensation or consumption in braking, then braking power and energy on front and rear wheels, and braking system for electric vehicle and hybrid electric vehicles, the series brake and paddle brake, and lastly anti-lock brake system. So one of the most important features of electric vehicle and hybrid electric vehicle is their ability to recover significant amounts of braking energy. Okay, so the electric motors which are installed in electric vehicle and hybrid electric vehicle can be controlled to operate as generators, which will convert the kinetic or potential energy of the vehicle into electric energy that can be stored in the energy storage devices and that can be reused. So the braking performance of any vehicle is one of the important factors for the vehicle safety. So if a braking system is successfully designed for a vehicle, it must always meet two demands or two requirements. First is, so in case of emergency braking, it must bring the vehicle to rest in the shortest possible distance. And secondly, it must maintain control over the vehicle's direction. So the former means the latest one requires that the braking system must be able to supply sufficient braking torque. So sufficient braking torque should be supplied on all the vehicles, all wheels, and the latter one requires braking force to be distributed on all the wheels equally. So generally the braking torque required is much larger than that of the electric motor torque can produce. So in electric vehicles and hybrid electric vehicles, mechanically frictional braking systems must coexist with electrically regenerative braking. Okay, so thus the proper design and control of both mechanical and electrical braking system both are major concerns, so in energy consumption. Okay, so when we are going to have a look on this energy consumption in braking, so a significant amount of energy is consumed by braking. So in case of braking, when we brake 1500 kilogram vehicle from 100 kilometer per hour to zero speed, it consumes about 0.16 kilowatt hour of energy in a few tens of meters. Okay, so if this amount of energy is consumed in coasting by only overcoming the drags without braking, the vehicle will travel about 2 kilometers. Okay, it will travel about more than 2 kilometers. You can see here this diagram in the figure 11.1. So when the vehicles are driving with a stop and go pattern in urban areas, a significant amount of energy is consumed by frequent braking, so which results in high fuel consumption. Okay, so now this figure I'll zoom out. Figure 11.2 shows the total traction energy on driven vehicle, total traction energy on driven wheels and energy consumed by drags. Okay, and braking of a 1500 kg passenger car. Okay, braking of 1500 kg passenger car. So this table lists the maximum speed, then average speed, total traction energy on driven wheels, and minimum and total energy is consumed by braking. Also percentage of braking energy to total traction energy. So braking per 100 kilometer traveling distance of the 1500 kg passenger car. So this figure 11.1 and 11.2 indicates that the braking energy in typical urban areas, it can reach up to more than 25% of the total traction energy. So in case of large cities such as New York, it may reach up to 70%. So it is concluded from these figures that the effective regenerative braking can significantly improve the fuel economy of your electric vehicles and hybrid electric vehicles. So this is what the importance of regenerative braking. Okay, this is the theory related to the figures and the tables. Okay, you can look up to that. Okay, you can see here this figure indicates the vehicle speed, acceleration. Okay, this is the vehicle speed and this is the acceleration or deceleration. This peak is the acceleration and this negative peak is the deceleration. Okay, for urban drive cycle. So you can see that the speed varies from 0 to 80. Okay, for so it's above 80 for very less time, and more frequently it is around 40. So average speed is 40, minimum speed is just 20 or less than 20 or 30, and the maximum speed is 80. Okay, so now so this figure 11.4 and 11.5 show the braking force and braking power and braking energy of a 1500 kilogram passenger car in a FTP 75 urban drive cycle. So this has different parameters. Okay, so this example you can see here has different parameters which are not that much useful. So now these figures, which is 11.4 and 11.6, I'll zoom it out. Okay, now you can see it clearly. So this figures indicates that the front wheels consume about 65% of the total braking power and energy. So regenerative braking on the front wheel is available only on one axle. Okay, only on a single axle, and it is more effective than on the rear wheels. And secondly, the braking force is almost constant in the speed range of less than 50 km. You can see it here, and decreases when the speed is greater than 40 km per hour. This characteristics naturally matches that of the electric motor and has a constant torque at the low speed regions. Okay, and a constant power at a high speed region. So now this 11.6 figure also indicates that most braking energy is consumed in the speed range of 10 km to 50 km per hour. Okay, you can see it very clearly from this. Okay, so front axle is very important in case of regenerative braking. Now we are going to have a look on the braking systems of electric vehicles and hybrid electric vehicles. So we know that regenerative braking in both the vehicles, it add some complexity to the braking system design. So there are two basic questions which will arise while braking these electric vehicles. First one is how to distribute the total braking forces that are required between the regenerative brake and the mechanical friction brake in order to recover the kinetic energy of the electric vehicle. So it is required to recover the kinetic energy of the electric vehicle as much as possible, and the other is to distribute the total braking forces on the front and the rear axles in order to achieve a steady state braking. So basically, regenerative braking is effective only for the driven axle, and the traction motor must be controlled to produce the proper amount of braking force for the recovering of kinetic energy as much as possible, and at the same time the mechanical brake, okay, it should be controlled to meet the braking force from the driver. So there are three different brake control strategies in electric vehicles. First one is series braking with optimal braking. Okay, series braking with optimal braking. Then series braking with optimal energy recovery. And last one is parallel braking. So we are going to have a look on each one by one. So now series brake. Okay, for the optimal feel. So the series braking system with optimal feel consists of a braking controller which will control the braking forces on both the wheels, front and rear. So the control objective here in this series brake is to minimize the stopping distance and optimize the driver's feel. Okay, the shortest, we know that the shortest braking distance and good braking feel require the braking forces on the front and rear wheels to follow the braking distribution curve. Okay, so now this figure 11.7, it indicates the principle of this braking control strategy. Okay, so when the commanded deacceleration, which is represented by the braking pedal position, is less than 0.2 gram, only the regenerative braking on the front wheel is applied. Okay, which emulates the energy or the engine. It emulates the engine retarding function in conventional vehicles. So when the commanded deacceleration is greater than 0.2 gram, the braking forces on the front and rear wheel follow the ideal braking forces distribution. Okay, as shown. Okay, this is the curve I. So it follows the braking force distribution curve by the, you can see here it is indicated by thick solid line. So the braking force on the front wheels is divided into two parts. First one is regenerative braking force and mechanically frictional braking force. So when the braking force demanded is less than the maximum braking force, the electric motor can produce only electrically regenerative braking. Okay, and when the commanded braking force is greater than the available regenerative braking force, the electric motor will operate to produce its maximum braking torque, and the remaining braking force is made by the mechanical brake system. Okay, so it should be noted that the maximum regenerative braking force produced by an electric motor is very related to the electric motor speed. So at low speed, lower than the base speed, the maximum torque is very constant. Okay, and you can see here, if there is at high speed, higher than the base speed, the maximum torque decreases with the speed. Okay, it decreases hyperbolically with the speed. So therefore the mechanical brake torque at a given vehicle deceleration varies with vehicle speed. Okay, so next is series brake, second type of series brake with optimal energy recovery. So the principle of series brake system with optimal energy recovery is meant to recover the braking energy as much as possible in the condition of meeting the total braking force which is demanded for the given deceleration. Okay, so this is the figure here. Okay, so when the vehicle is braked with an acceleration rate of j oblique g less than mu, the braking forces on the front and rear wheels can be varied in a certain range. So as long as this addition is satisfied, the variation in the range of the front and rear axle, okay, you can see it here, front and rear axle variation is given. So the thick solid line AB, this solid line A and B, this thick solid line A, and this one is B, where mu is 0.9 and J upon G is 0.7 for that. In this case, regenerative braking should be used in priority. So if the available regenerative braking force is in the range, so the braking force on the front wheel should be developed only by regenerative braking without mechanical braking. Okay, so this is how this series braking for optimal energy recovery works. So the braking force on the rear wheels, which is represented by the point E, should be developed in order to meet the total braking force requirement. So if suppose an example, on the same road the available regenerative braking force is less than the value corresponding to a point, the electric motor should be controlled to produce its maximum regenerative braking force. So then the front and rear braking forces should be controlled at point F in order to optimize the driver feel and reduce braking distance. Okay, so when the commanded deacceleration is rate, that is J upon G, is much smaller than the road adhesive coefficient, and the regenerative braking force can meet the total braking force demand, only regenerative braking is used without mechanical braking on both the wheels, front and rear wheels. Okay, so if this commanded deacceleration rate is equal to the road adhesive coefficient, if J upon G equals to mu, the operating point of the front and rear braking forces must be on the curve I. Okay, if it is equal, it will be on the curve I. So you can see here KF. Okay, like these points. And last, the when commanded deacceleration rate J upon G is greater than the mu, that is the road adhesive coefficient, this commanded deacceleration rate will never be reached due to the limitation of the road adhesion. So the maximum deacceleration that the vehicle can obtain is this one, A upon G max equals to U. Okay, so it should be noted that the series brake with both optimal feel and energy recovery needed active control of both electric regenerative braking and also mechanical braking forces on both the wheels. So at present, such a braking system is under research and in case of development. Okay, it is under research, it is not existing right now. And last one is we are going to have a look on the parallel brake. So you can see here the diagram, the okay diagram the graph between braking force on the rear vehicle and braking force on the front vehicle. Okay, so the parallel brake system includes both electrical regenerative brake and a mechanical brake which produce braking forces. So you can see here the operating principle of this, okay, in which the regenerative braking is applied only to the front wheels. Okay, So this parallel brake system has a conventional mechanical brake which has a fixed ratio of braking force distribution on the front and rear wheels. So this regenerative braking adds additional braking force to the front wheels, resulting in the total braking force distribution curve. Okay, and the mechanical braking forces on the rear and front axles are proportional to the hydraulic pressure on the master cylinder. So you can see here, when the demanded acceleration is less than the deceleration, regenerative braking is effective. Okay, and when the braking deceleration commanded is less than a given value, say 0.15 about value, only regenerative braking is applied. So in figure 11.10, this figure shows the braking forces varying with deceleration rate and mechanical braking force on the front wheels as well as the mechanical braking force on the rear wheels. This parallel braking system does not need an electronically controlled mechanical brake system. So a pressure sensor senses the hydraulic pressure in the master cylinder, which represents the deceleration demand. So the pressure signal is regulated and sent to the electric motor controller in order to control the electric motor to produce the demanded braking torque. So when we compare with the series braking of both optimal feel and energy recovery, the parallel braking system has a much more simpler construction and very simple control system. Okay. However, the driver's feeling and the amount of energy recovered are compromised in this braking. And last one we are going to see is the anti-lock braking system, which is ABS. This ABS has been used is being used recently in different electric vehicles, also in case of non-electric vehicles, that is conventional vehicles. Okay, I think you have heard about it many times. So active control of the braking force, that is the torque of electric motor, is very easier than the control of the mechanical braking force. So anti-lock in braking system with electric brake is another inherent advantage, especially for a electric or vehicle with electric motor on four wheels. So this figure conceptually illustrates a scheme of regenerative braking which can potentially function as an anti-lock braking system, ABS. So the main components of this braking system are the brake pedal, okay, and the master cylinder, and which is electrically powered and electronically controlled brake actuators. So electronically controlled 3-port switches common, which is port 1, port 2 and port 3, okay, in which port 1 is open, port 2 is closed and port 3 is open. So after that it consists of fluid accumulator, pressure sensor and overall controller unit. The pressure sensor measures fluid pressure, which represents the driver's desirable braking strength, and the fluid is discharged into the fluid accumulator through the electronically controlled 3-port switches. Okay, these switches. This emulates the braking feeling of a conventional braking system. So after receiving a braking pressure signal, the overall controller unit determines the braking torque of both the wheels, front and rear wheels. Regenerative braking torque and also mechanical braking torque according to the traction motor characteristics and control rule. So the motor controller is not shown in this figure, but it commands the motor to produce correct braking torque, and the mechanical braking controller commands the electrically powered braking actuator to produce correct braking torques for each wheel. So if an electrically powered braking actuator is detected to be a failure, the corresponding 3-port switches closes. Okay, so port 3 and port 3 and opens port 2. Okay, and the fluid is directly discharged to the wheel cylinder, and after that it produces braking torque. So the control strategy is crucial for energy recovery and braking performance. So now in this figure it shows the simulation results of a passenger car which is experiencing a sudden strong braking on a road with varying road adhesive coefficients, that is mu. So when the commanded braking force is less than the maximum braking force, the actual braking force follows the commanded braking force. Okay, so the command braking force, if the command braking force if the commanded braking force is greater than the maximum braking force that the ground can support, the actual braking force follows the maximum ground braking force. So then the wheel slip ratios can be controlled in a proper range less than 25%. So the vehicle will have directional stability and short braking distances. This is what the concept of anti-lock braking system. So this ends our first chapter, which consists of the energy storage, the basics of electric vehicle, types of electric vehicle and energy storage. Okay, so do watch the video. If you have doubt you can ask, and do watch this video. Till then, take care and goodbye.